Welcome to The Manly Catholic. In this podcast, we will inspire, challenge, and equip all men to become the men they were created to be. Join us as we journey together to become the best versions of ourselves and strive to change our communities one man at a time.
Yeah, there's lots of dragons to slay. I think inherently that's what we are. I mean, I had 5 girls and then a boy. I could not have predicted the difference between a boy and a girl from birth, even though I am one. But I was the baby. I didn't know.
Sure.
But you watch how Michael grew up different than the girls. I didn't have to teach him. I did not have to teach him how to make a gun out of a piece of stick.
Dude, that is so true. You didn't. Oh my gosh.
I didn't teach him.
My dad didn't have to teach me how to climb a tree.
No.
You're right. My dad did not have to teach me how to use a pine cone as a grenade or to grab a stick and it's a gun. And you know what? Brothers and sisters out there in podcast land, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. There is nothing wrong with that. Let boys be boys. There's nothing wrong with that.
Because they're learning how to climb mountains. They're learning how to overcome obstacles. They're learning how to pick up arms and defend when need be.
When need be. When need be, yes.
To protect the innocent.
Self-defense, yes, absolutely.
And it teaches the hierarchy of mortality. It teaches that there is a breaking point to everything. And if I'm too rough, I'm going to get hurt or I'm going to hurt somebody. And these are my buddies. Like, they're not my enemies. I'm out here having fun. We're in the woods. We're playing this and that and imagining things. We're not fighting. We're play fighting. Enter sparring.
Yeah.
And that, and not just me, but the great psychotherapist Jordan Peterson talks about boys, especially. I think both genders probably can benefit to some level, but boys especially were designed to find the limits through rough and tumble of their masculinity.
Yeah, and you got a lot of young boys in your class.
We do. Thank you.
A lot.
We do.
I mean, Jeff, who just gave you that glass of water, his little boy.
And nobody has to tell him, his son, when he gets together with my grandsons, it's time to wrestle. Next thing you know, they're downstairs wrestling. Why is that? And even to a point where I would say, and evolutionists would run with this, and I don't care. I don't care. They can try to own it if they want to. I think it's extremely theologically based and built into us. But there is a hierarchy to society. It doesn't diminish the value of anybody.
No.
But there are some people that are created to be the athletes. Mm-hmm. There are others who are created to be the defensive warriors. There are others who are going to be the accountants and others who are going to be the designers.
Yeah. It's part of the body of Christ.
It's just, it's a body of many members, and those charisms make a whole.
Yeah. Peter in Scripture was clearly the one chosen to be the leader of the 12. He always speaks representative of the other 11.
Totally.
But that's just how he was chosen.
Things get out of control really fast with a no hierarchy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, the Catholic Church is a hierarchy of authority. That's how Christ set it up. He is the head. He is the ultimate authority. We are the body. Yeah. Right? The Catholic Church is not a democracy. Yeah. It is a hierarchy of authority, right? Yeah. But it can get off kilter quite quickly, can it? When men abuse that power.
Totally.
And that's the thing, going back to BJJ. I have never learned such humility in BJJ. Like, when a 17-year-old taps me out and I'm really trying not to, am I going to get back up, or am I going to sit there and pout because a 17-year-old kid tapped me out? Like, he could have killed me. I learned from it and I get back up. Right. I was like, all right, let's go again.
It's a great
It's
life
hard,
lesson, isn't it?
It's hard.
It's a great life lesson of tenacity.
It's like trying to go to the confessional. Yeah, like, you know, you have to go to the confession.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can be hard, man.
Yeah. So
or asking for forgiveness, or the
4 things that probably have stood out the most in my life, and I've been asked this question so many times, and it's okay for people that are listening, if they are part of an academy or a gym that's, and I would say that there's a difference between the two, and they're more into the sport competitive.
Yes, I would agree.
It's okay. That's okay. And I would caution you, be careful what the cost is to your body in those 7 years, which is about the lifespan of a really full-time active competing jiu-jitsu person.
Sure.
We don't call them limb collectors for nothing. It's a brutal martial art that's designed to break limbs and choke people unconscious. That's how it's designed to do it. And in competition, it's so fast, there's no time to tap.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying to those people. If that's what you're called to do, go do it and have fun doing it.
Mm-hmm.
For the rest of people who have a full-time job, but they want some jiu-jitsu in their life, or they want a martial art in their life, obviously I'm biased to jiu-jitsu, and Father, you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner and a judo practitioner and have had mixed martial arts, but jiu-jitsu is the art of focus today. I'd like to share that the main tenets that are coming through in my life now is the internal fight between the things that I know that I'm supposed to do and the things that I want to do. When I'm tempted to disobey and hurt my family or hurt my community,
Yeah.
and the voice of God is calling me back to obedience, even against my concupiscence. When life is dealing out stress, and that's probably the third and probably the highest focus because it's most practical, whether it's economical, emotional, psychological, medical/physical, political, communal society. We can't control when stressors come into our life. They just do. They just do. And there's literally nothing we can do about it, except for what we can do internally and how we respond to it. If you attack me and take me to the ground and mount me, which is the worst in the fighting arts position you can be in. It's the mounted position where someone is on top of you and you are laying flat on your back is the greatest deficit in a combat situation a person could be in. And yet through practice, I can learn to get safe there, minimize damage, not eliminate damage, minimize damage, and create my pathway to escape, reversal, neutralization, and control. The application of that works when you're fired. Whoa, I just got mounted. I'm oppressed right now. And I didn't even ask for it. The reaction to that is fight or flight.
Well, thinking clearly in that situation is extremely difficult.
Because you're in fight or flight. That's the way untrained humans react. It's reflexive. It comes from the medulla oblongata. Nobody has to learn how to fight or flight. It's automatic. That's why we call it the autonomic nervous system.
Right. The untrained individual.
The untrained.
Untrained, yeah.
Untrained, undisciplined. It all works the same way. If you walk around a corner and you don't know I'm there and I boo you, you're going to react in a startled fight or flight mechanism.
Right.
Your heart rate increases, your adrenaline dumps.
Yeah, you become very uncomfortable in that uncomfortable situation.
And then you just react. That's called a reflex. And most of us do that through life. My wife is angry with me and I don't know the solution. And I'm panicking. They might not even know that they're panicking. They think they're angry. They think it's unfair. They think that something is happening that shouldn't be happening. They're misunderstood. How could this be happening? She's out of love with me. I don't even know if I love her anymore. And now I'm panicked. fight or flight. Heart rate increases, pupils dilate, adrenaline dumps, and we have two options: stay and fight or flee and run.
It's the same in our spiritual life. It's the same with prayer. It's the same with spiritual combat. Absolutely.
I'm tempted by this thing.
Yeah.
And we all seem to go to the serial temptations, but why don't we just call it something else? How about lethargy? How about eating too much? How about doubt? How about
going to porn, masturbation, drugs?
Sure. Anger, hatefulness, greed. It doesn't really matter. They quickly get justified. That's the only reason we can then think, I have a right to this. And now I'm going to act on it. But the problem is you only have two options: fight or fly. Neither are good. The only time it's good is if your life is in danger.
Right.
Yeah.
The only time fight is good is when someone's actually threatening your life or the life of another innocent person and you've got to survive. That's the only time fight is justified.
And that's a physiological response. You get that endorphin dump, right?
Sure. And fleeing only works when it's a bear. It only works when it's something you can outrun. The old joke is you don't have to be the fastest, just not slower than the last person. Right?
I just got to be faster than James here.
Right. But if you run out on your spouse when you're in a heated discussion, what productive outcome comes from that?
Not many.
Don't even begin to call it the cool down phase, because that's ridiculous. That's called desertion. Like in the psychosomatic understanding of, we got into an argument and my husband just left. What is that message saying? My wife just left. What is that message that spouse is receiving? You're not worth fighting for. You're not worth grappling with the angel.
That's Adam leaving the garden.
It's Adam leaving the garden, blaming somebody else. That's your fault. I didn't leave. You walked out. Stay out.
Yeah.
And so we see this ripping, this emergent, fearful panic creates fight or flight. And neither of those two work in the complexity of spiritual, emotional, psychological relationship. Neither of them. At work, at home, or in community.
It's exactly what Aristotle talked about. Aquinas adopted it and then expanded on that, right? I mean, like, so virtue is the means between excess and deficiency, fight or flight. And I think what you're getting at, and I think it's quite poetic and beautiful, powerful, is that fight or flight, yes, neither are good, but if we could find the virtue in the middle, we maintain that perfect balance between excess and deficiency. Between fight or flight, we find virtue in the middle, and that's exactly where we're supposed to go, because that's exactly the life of Christ. That's exactly what he did. In the garden, there was no fight or flight. Like, he found that perfect virtue middle and said, carry the cross to be a servant leader and to die. And that, again, that's exactly what men need in their lives, and that they could only enter into that. It's not like they got to necessarily find it. It's there. Right? But if they could find Jesus as their Lord, then that's the right path to follow. And it's that virtue. It's that means between excess and deficiency. Not fight or flight, but it's being that servant leader and following Christ. And there's masculinity. That's exactly what the world needs right now.
When you're counseling somebody and they're dealing with something, it doesn't matter what it is, and they're struggling and they're finding themselves drained in that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And because of that, they feel separated from God, separated from the love of God.
They're done. The next step is they want to end their life.
What if they could just be there? Think about that just for a moment. Think about that for all of us. We recognize where there's a problem. It has to be dealt with. My reflexive self is panic.
Sure.
Fight or flight. But my trained self takes a deep cleansing breath into the nose and a slow exhalation and a count that I am dust, and to dust I shall return. And I am here, and I am present. Do with me as you will. You are the potter, I am the clay. And I don't know what direction to go. I can't even fix me. Obviously, I'm already broken. If I could have fixed me, I would have fixed me a long time ago. So I'm just going to be here. I'm not leaving, and I'm not going to freak out. What I find so beautiful about the practice of jiu-jitsu as it relates to spiritual practice is similar to a person who has an allergic reaction to something they're sensitive to. Peanuts, shellfish, bee stings. We'll take the three big ones. As soon as you find out that you have a super overreaction to something that really shouldn't be overreacted to, none of those are lethal. It's not rattlesnake poison. It's just a bee sting, slightly toxic. It's just peanut oil. There's proteins, there's whatever in there. Your body has no problem digesting that, but it thinks it does. As soon as you go to the allergist, they discover what it is that's causing this hyper reaction. They identify it. And then they bring in really, 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 really small controlled doses of the very thing that's causing the overreaction. Face your fear. You have to receive the very thing that's freaking you out.
What is it that Peterson says? The dragon, the little dragons, facing the little dragons to give you enough strength to finally fight the big dragon. Didn't we talk about that?
I think so.
Yeah, I was.
Talk?
Yeah, Jordan Peterson talks about, and exactly what you're talking about as well too. It's like, all right, you recognize that you have these dragons in your life, and here's the big one that's causing all those problems. If you were to just try to attack that big dragon where you're at now, you're gonna get fried.
Yep.
And so he says, okay, well, just start where you're at now. Like honestly, do some spiritual reflection and find out where are the little sins, and then just start picking those off. And then while you pick those off, you will, in terms of like struggling with that sin, you're going to become stronger. And then you do the next dragon, and the next bigger one, and the next bigger one, right?
Well, it's just like, compare that to like working out too, like someone who sees like The Rock. And she's like, I can't get like that. Like, well, of course not. Like, how many years has that guy been working out? He may have had a little help. Who knows? But the point is that, when you start working out, you start with what you can handle, and then you slowly increase it. But you're literally, when you work out, you are literally tearing your muscle fibers.
And it hurts.
When they regenerate, that's what makes you stronger. But it's the same thing what we're talking about here, like slaying the dragon, right?
You see the huge dragon, and he would devour you, right? So what do? You have to train. You have to fight smaller dragons to get that experience, and then you work your way up.
Get comfortable with those little dragons.
Yeah, because you have to.
You have to.
If you want to fight the big dragons.
Gosh, man. And as you learn from those experiences, you move from white belt, one stripe, two stripe, three stripe, right? And then you move to blue belt, and because you're gaining those experiences, and then you look back at those white belt situations or blue belt situations, and I'm like, wow, how did I ever do that? It's like it's a miracle.
The accumulation of experiences. I don't know how I got myself into soup the first time.
You never give up.
You just can't
give up.
Don't give up. Learn from the mistakes. Because there is such a thing as deciding not to learn from the mistakes.
Right.
Bro, for sure.
And from learning from that experience and learning from those mistakes, I think we might be forgetting one key ingredient, and it's part of the practice of jiu-jitsu is you have a coach, you have a team. You have other people there motivating you. And you can't do it alone. And that's what I loved about my journey through martial arts, mixed martial arts, is there's always a team. Right. We can't do it. And that's in exact line with the spiritual world as well, and with spiritual combat as well. Like the individual I talked about that was not possessed, but definitely oppressed, right? And those are minor. Well, we did confession, which is a very major exorcism outside baptism, which is the most major exorcism.
Right.
He can't do that alone. He's alone. And Satan's having a field day with him.
Sure.
And so I said to him, we're going to meet. And I'm going to send you a schedule. And you're going to have to abide by this schedule. And we're going to meet twice a week. And we're going to go to confession. And we're going to go to adoration. And we're going to do these deliverance prayers. And you're going to go to Mass every Sunday. You're going to soak yourself in the graces of Christ, who is the ultimate coach, who will ultimately show you and tell you how to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Because this dude was uncomfortable. Sure. I mean, he was getting knocked across the mat, like whipped around like a rag doll. I mean, he was shaking. He was sweating. He was crying. And as he was doing this, I was like, this is a minor manifestation. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, let's do this. He is super uncomfortable right now, but we're going to get him comfortable. So we're going to enter into the sacraments of the Catholic Church, right? And that's how it worked. So we can't do it alone. Yeah. And that's what I admire about you, Coach. When I started rolling at your gym in 2021, when I came back to the diocese after being ordained a priest, it was like your philosophy and your theology that you were bringing into your academy, which is different. A gym, I understand that because I teach at an academy as well too for the trades. Right. There is a difference by saying a gym. Language is key. Gym and academy. Academy is like, this is a place of learning. Like if we look at Plato's academy or Aristotle's academy, they would dive deep into a liberal arts form of education. There's logic and there's rhetoric. Yeah. There was music. There was mathematics. Did you know that in both academies of Plato and Aristotle, so long ago, did you know what they did? And these were only men who were like 30 years or older. Yes. Do you know what they did? Wrestle? Yes. But they did it as a team.
Isn't that amazing?
We can't do that alone.
And why would they do that? The physical manifestation of what they had to grapple with mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Well, they're definitely making a connection from what they learned from.
We're human people. We're physical people. Your parishioner, this individual, whoever it is, who came to you and you had this incredible spiritual encounter, this prayer, this divine exorcism. Shake, tremble, sweat.
Yes.
Cry.
The demons did not want him there. And the demons were terrified as well, too, because they knew what was going to happen.
There's no separating until we leave this world, the human physical from the spiritual. We're connected. And that's why I think that training the body assists in us training the spirit.
That's why Plato and Aristotle had attached to their places of academy the physicalness for these men.
Yep.
And that's what's missing in our school systems.
Huge. I hated school. I couldn't sit. That's what I loved about our family business and ironworking and metal fabrication. That was my school. Yeah. The men need that. And that's why when I helped start and I'm teaching at Harmel Academy at the trades, you know that. You had some of our guys in the past, I think. And this is a perfect combination of a deeper West Humanities curriculum that we teach at this academy. And then it's all hands-on. They're getting dirty. They're welding. They're grinding. They're using mills, lathes, CNC equipment. They're tearing apart engines. They're getting dirty. They're doing it together. It's amazing. And this is what men need. Men need this type of physicality to help unpack that masculinity and that power. And again, I really do think BJJ helps bring that out. It may not be for everybody.
I think it's I agree with you. I think you're right, Father. I don't. It's tough when you're passionate about something and you're biased to it. It's easy to believe that is the medication of choice. What I would say is don't look at the particular art form necessarily, but the fact that something is important to incorporate in our lives, male or female, that exposes us to uncomfortable situations on a regular basis, which allows us to be forced to find ways through coaching, through practice, a certain level of calming oneself down to be more peaceful. Not at peace. And this is the big thing that we talk about. Not perfect, not at peace, more peaceful, better
Yes.
at.
Yes. And it's just not in your academy physically there on the mats. It's not, yes, there is.
You do teach us how to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, but it's just not there. It's out in the world. We get to take that, what we learn at your academy, we take that out in the world. See, and that's the powerful connection that we're trying to make in this in this podcast. I mean, it's a very powerful thing to say. We're going to teach you how to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Hey, man, sign me up.
Right.
Sign me up. Sign Jimmy up.
That's right.
Sign Jeff up.
Right.
We all want that. You know how many parishioners at my parish want to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations?
All of them.
I'm crazy. Yes, everywhere they go and everywhere they are, in their work, in their relationships, in their marriage.
Yeah.
They're always going to be a confrontation of some sort. And to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations is a philosophy that is taught at your academy, but it is a spiritual existence. It is a spiritual reality. I mean, look at Jesus dying on the cross. Talk about an uncomfortable situation. And some of the most powerful things that he said were from the cross. His last sayings from the cross. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Son, here is your mother. Mother, here is your son. Wow.
To think clearly.
Into your hands, Lord, I commend my spirit. My God, why have you forsaken me? All these things came from the cross. Now talk about someone who was in a very uncomfortable situation and comfortably said these things of power and transformation. And he didn't use a weapon. He didn't use a nuclear bomb. He didn't use liberal progressive propaganda BS.
Right.
There was nothing there. It's like, here it is.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
And it changed reality forever, past, present, and future. Like being comfortable in uncomfortable situations, and maybe this is the title of the podcast, I don't know, is amazing.
Yeah.
Is amazing. And ever since you said that, the first time you said that in class, I was like, bing.
Yeah.
Light bulb.
Yeah.
I was like, hot
Because
damn.
who likes to be stressed out? Not me. Who likes to be in a fight?
But everybody's stressed out.
But everybody gets there. What if we could do better? And here's probably the takeaway for me. If indeed I can become more comfortable in that extreme discomfort, which leads me to think more reasonably, more clearly, and make more wise decisions about when to speak, how to speak,
Yes.
when to act, how to act, most appropriately for the betterment of other, versus just self-preservation or self-protection. Will not the outcome be that much better?
The outcome will lead to salvation. The outcome will be, I am uncomfortable in uncomfortable situations. I am mounted, but I have been trained to get out of this situation, and I'm not going to give up. I may be on the verge of tapping, but I'm not. And the next thing I know, a little movement here, a little shrimp here, and next thing you know, I'm swept. I'm on top.
Right.
Victory, salvation, because I didn't give up, because I was comfortable in uncomfortable situations.
Threat neutralized.
Yes.
Dominant position. Navigate a way forward.
No.
It's a good roadmap to navigate life better.
You know how many people out in the world don't know they have this potential?
Especially men.
We could change, especially men.
Yeah.
We could change the world.
Yeah.
We could change. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu could change the world.
Thank you all so much for listening to the episode, and I just want to take a really quick break to thank one of our sponsors, which is Mystic Monk Coffee. Coffee and prayer. It's the perfect blend. Mystic Monk Coffee isn't just another cup of coffee. It's handcrafted by the Carmelite monks of Wyoming, roasted with care and infused with prayer. Whether you are starting your morning or fueling your day, Mystic Monk Coffee offers rich, bold flavors that are as divine as their mission. By choosing Mystic Monk, you're not only enjoying exceptional coffee, you're supporting a community of monks dedicated to prayer and the church. It is coffee with a cause. And here's the best part. As a supporter of the Manly Catholic Podcast, if you join our Buy Me a Coffee page at the $20 or more a month level, we'll send you a bag of Mystic Monk Coffee for free. And yes, we will even pay for the shipping. So what are you waiting for? Visit mysticmonkcoffee.com today and experience the brew that's fueling faith and flavor. Again, that's mysticmonkcoffee.com. It's coffee made for your soul. Now, thank you for listening, and let's dive back into that episode.
Again, academy, the whole thing about academy as a place of teaching, and academy as a place of learning. It's a place of longevity. It's a place of positing in students over a course of a period of time, and then sending them off so that they can survive and succeed, and they can flourish.
Yeah.
Right? And that's exactly what you've established at Vanguard.
We call the mats the lab, right?
Yes, we do.
Don't we call that the lab? It's
Yep.
time to go into the lab.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the
Timing, leverage, balance, technique.
Exactly.
Right? And those are the sacraments. Those are part of the sacraments of the Catholic Church. Right? Everything from baptism and confirmation and reconciliation and Eucharist. Like these are those weapons, like balance, timing, technique. That's it. Like applying that to the spiritual world of our Catholic faith, the epitome of what it means to be a Christian. Are you Christian? Yeah, I'm Christian. I'm Catholic. Like you can't get any better than this,
Totally.
bro.
Yeah.
And you have the sacraments, and those are the things that we need to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Right. Like we're tempted by sin. I'm mounted, and I'm about to get armbarred in this situation. I'm about to get Americana in this situation. Like, no, I'm going to go to confession.
Right.
I'm going to be calm, cool, collected. I'm going to think, what do I need in this situation? I'm tempted, or maybe I have fallen into sin. What do I need because I'm about to tap out?
Right.
I need the graces
Or
of the
just
Catholic
give
Church.
up and stop showing up.
We have enough. We have a lot of that.
Yeah, I think that's really the
tough.
alternative too. Is that they're just like, no, I'm not going to subject myself to that anymore. It's too hard on me to see that I'm mortal, to see that I'm tappable, to see that somebody's bigger, better, faster, stronger than I am. I'm just not going to show up anymore. I'm out of the game. To become an apex predator, so we talked about how to defend peacefully, to defend better, to neutralize the threat, to think more clearly under stress. That's part one. So where does that get us if we spend a lifetime trying to perfect that better and better? Well, hopefully what we talk about in the fighting arts is we become an apex predator. And I use the analogy of the cat with the mouse. A cat with a mouse doesn't really have to worry about killing its prey right away because it can take it anytime it wants. I've seen cats play with mice and chipmunks with one claw.
Yeah.
And get bored, in fact. Only to let it go.
It's like, I want to move on to a raccoon.
Sure. Or to recatch it again in the sport of the game. So what is the ultimate achievement? Well, the ultimate achievement is to stop getting to where I'm just surviving, defending, neutralizing, to where I'm actually dominating and controlling. Not in a negative way, but controlling because I'm so now ready to be immune to that thing that would send me into panic that I'm comfortable there. I think clearly there. I navigate to an escape where I then neutralize and then reverse and then dominate. And now I'm so comfortable. Yes, of course, the analogy in the fighting art is I can be merciful. So
Yes.
I hold the capacity to break you while I choose to simply neutralize you.
That is mercy. That is justice. And you talk about an apex predator. Jesus Christ dying on the cross is the apex predator.
Completely. He was, in a moment, capable of ending the game.
I had a... Yes, absolutely. I had a shirt that had a picture of Christ carrying the cross on one side, and then the crucifixion on the back, and underneath it said Jesus never tapped.
Truly. But could have. So what is the, so let's,
He almost did in the garden though.
so
Yeah.
so here is the punctuation at the end of the sentence. Who is the person who is, and this is going to sound extremely humanistic, but hopefully all of us will hear this as spiritual victory. So let's look at it through the lens of spiritual victory, which, while we're humans, also relates to human victory, right? Who's more powerful? Who's really the one in control? The one who struggles and fights and by accident they win? Or the person who all the time knew they could win, but by choice allowed themselves to lose? They were so powerful, the victory was well within their ability. But for the greater good, reach back to marriage. I'm stronger physically than my wife. I'm the sole breadwinner in our family. But by choice, out of love, I asked my wife, should we buy this?
Right.
Where would you like to go eat tonight? Is not that royal kingship truly lived out by knowing that one has the capacity, but through love and choice of submission shows that that dominance is laid like Christ did, fully knowing he could have ended civilization, but chose to see the crucifixion through to the victory.
Correct.
Ultimate
That
power.
Yes, ultimate power right there. That is the epitome of the great virtue of meekness.
Yep.
Meekness.
Totally.
A king that is so trained in his using his sword, he could destroy anything, everything at any time. But he leaves it in its scabbard, and he knows when to unveil that and when not to. And he chooses right that moment. That's meekness. That's it. How many times have I've done this before, like rolling with a lower belt, we'll let that this is hard.
Armbar go by, the Americana
well,
go
not
by.
yes, to go by, yes, but in order to encourage them,
Sure.
let them tap you out.
For sure. Who was ultimately the better fighter?
Right?
Who looks like the better fighter?
Right.
The one who taps out the other person.
Yes.
But who ultimately was
Yes.
the more powerful fighter?
Knowing that I could have definitely got out of that.
You could have multiple times.
But let him or her tap me out in
To
order
improve
to
them.
give them encouragement.
to improve them.
That is a servant leader. My friend, that is a servant leader.
Yeah.
So, Roy, how many times have you let Follow Dom tap you out?
Don't even.
Never. He only gets taps by legitimate win.
Jimmy, come
I
on,
had to
man.
ask.
Jimmy, come on, man.
I had to ask.
Come on, bro.
You know.
He's trying to break the code of the coach conduct. Never.
I was testing you, Roy.
Yeah.
You passed.
Yeah, it took you a lot of hard work to get to black belt. A lot of
16
dedication,
years?
commitment.
17 years?
16.
16 years.
Yeah.
Well, the ironic thing of this whole conversation,
Like, because he was a U.S. Navy SEAL, he went through BUDS training and all that, and he goes, the physical
the book I always reference is The Comfort Crisis. I don't know if you've read that or
I have
heard of
not,
that.
No.
And he talks about it and like the psychology behind it. And, you know, when you push yourself to the limit, and he references, it's some like, I think Japanese concept, but it's basically this, you do something extremely difficult where it's like 50-50, like I might not make it. Like I could fail, not like you're going to die, but like I'm going to fail at this, even more so than that. But then, because there's always going to be a pinnacle, a point in that whatever activity you're doing where you're going to ask yourself, should I quit? Or should I keep going? And, you know, you talk about like psychology and stuff too. And I know a lot of military guys talk about it too. Like I listen to a lot of like Jocko Willink and stuff too. And he says the physical stuff, like, cause he was a U.S. Navy SEAL. He went through BUDS training and all that. He goes, the physical stuff, like, yeah, it's hard, but most of the guys can do it. And he said, but what they're really training is the mental. It's, I'm exhausted. I'm beat up.
Yeah.
And yeah, like physically you're worn out, but it's more, am I going to push through that? Because physically we are capable of so much more than what we give. It's always the mind that fails you first.
It's true.
And when you talk about this too, is the, you know, being comfortable in uncomfortable situations is, because a lot of times you go in, like you said, you go in that fight or flight mode. And so you don't make rational decisions, you know, but then it's what you were doing is taking that deep breath, calming your body down, allowing yourself that rational mind to come back to the forefront.
Exactly.
And then you're able to make the right
Wise decisions. Yeah.
Right. And so it's again, we know we need to do this, but we don't want to.
It's hard.
Because it's hard.
It's
and like you said,
hard.
you guys have talked about this all the time, is the humility aspect of it,
Yeah.
of BJJ, where it's especially when you're first starting out, because it's probably intimidating for a lot of people. It's like, yeah, you're going to fail. Yeah, you're going to be bad at it. It's a skill. It's an academy.
Yeah.
And you're learning a whole new language, a whole new art form, and something that you probably have never experienced before. And you might think you're coming from like, hey, I've lifted weights, I was an athlete in college, but that goes out the window when you're doing these
I was a
things.
college wrestler,
Right.
and they can't stand being on their backs.
Can't. Yeah. That's where we thrive. Putting them on their backs, pinning them down.
I was when I was dabbling and getting into MMA a long time ago. This was after college baseball and early 20s. I remember I had a fight, and I didn't do my homework on this individual. I was pretty cocky, and I was a pretty big boy. I was a lot bigger than I was now. I relied on my strength and athleticism. I was like, I no problem, I can take this guy, because he was smaller than I was. And so we fight, and he starts shooting in like nobody's business, fast. And I said, oh crap, this guy's a college wrestler. He was a college wrestler.
Oh man.
And he picked me up. He finally got in. He finally shot in. And he did. He picked me up. He body slammed me. I broke a rib and dislocated my jaw. It's pretty much out. And he slammed me hardcore.
Yeah, he did.
You know, he was shorter, but man, he was built as a, brick house.
Yeah.
And when I came to, walking out of the ring there, and thinking to myself, I just got my clock cleaned, and that's my fault. I didn't do my homework. That's spiritual combat.
Yeah.
And in this podcast, making those deep connections between being a BJJ practitioner and spiritual combat is this and that situation, and I counter it a lot. If you don't know your enemy, he will defeat you.
Yeah.
And I didn't do research on my enemy, my opponent.
Sure.
If I would have done research on him like I should have, I would have found out, yes, he is a college wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's super quick at shooting in. That's his go-to move.
Right.
Isn't that the same with Satan?
Sure.
If we don't know our enemy, his go-to move, he's always going to get us.
Yeah.
He's always going to tap us out.
Yeah.
And we have to be prepared. We have to know our enemy.
Yeah.
Right? We can do that. We can know our enemy. Like, we know who he is. We know his go-to move. Look at the garden again, going back to Adam. That's his go-to move. He's going to try and entice you away from the front door.
Yeah.
Porn, drugs,
Yeah.
right? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we have to know our enemy.
Yep.
We have to. I mean, that's battle tactics as well, too, right?
Sure.
You being in the military. My brothers were in the military. I almost went in the Marine Corps, Navy. I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. You have to know your enemy. And when you know your enemy, you're going to begin to know his tactics. You're going to see his battle plan, right? And then you're going to look and you're going to observe and you're going to analyze your position. You're going to analyze your fortifications, your battlefield, right? And if you look at your enemy and you say, he's going to go here, here, and here, and here, you can fortify, right, your fortress. You can fortify your fortress.
You also begin to recognize their collateral damage. So you walk into a place and you start seeing rubble and you're like, oh, this has got the fingerprints of the enemy for sure.
Yes, I didn't
I've
think about
seen
it that
this
way.
before.
Yes,
And-
what he leaves behind, his trail of devastation. Yeah.
You know, one of the hardest things married, I think when that this is when there's no clear identifiable reason why there's conflict. You know how there's times where you're like, oh, there's conflict because the car is broken down. We're down to one car, but we need two. Perfect. Super objective. We can probably work through this. And then there's those situations where we're at each other's throats. Things are not going well. Everything I say seems to be hurting you or making it worse. Everything you say to me only makes it worse as well. And this is in a cyclical cascading problem where we just seem to we can't seem to resolve this. And I think to myself, this has got the fingerprints of the enemy all over it.
100%.
Unidentifiable, unobjectifiable stress that is pitting two godly people that are in marriage, unified, and this is in marriage. It could be relationship, friendship, community, church, pastor, parishioner. It could be anything, right? But we can't seem to put our finger on the objectifiable, fixable issue. This has got the fingerprints of satanic confusion, ambiguity all over it. And yet when the heat is hot, when the stress is at its most and we're in fight or flight because we're mad at each other, we're hurt by each other, the very treatment that could cure this is the last thing on the list that we want to do. Pray together.
Oh, yeah.
Bind Satan together. Identify, yes, I know you're angry. I'm angry too, but let's not be angry at each other. Let's be angry at it. Let's be angry together at it, whatever it is. So let's bind it.
Right. In unity.
In the name of Jesus.
Together.
So difficult,
Together.
though. Hence why, and this is difficult because normally one spouse is practicing the art of getting comfortable with uncomfortable.
Right.
But if we're unified, and I'll tell you, my wife has come alongside with this so beautifully. And it starts at 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock, over coffee and prayer time. It is our training time. How do we receive the coaching of the Holy Spirit through the renewing of the Word every day? Then we meet. We have our staff meeting, which is our husband and wife. Let's sync up. Let's sit and have coffee. Let us take the time to light the candles, to sit in our living room, having our coffee, our prayer time. We'll get up and they'll move in and tell us their stuff. It's the preparation. It's the training. It's the knowing what normal good is so that when it's bad, it's foreign and you can identify it better.
Right.
And pray against it.
Right. I mean, in Fatima, right, we hear through that apparition that the last fight between Satan and our Lord is going to be through the family. And I've mentioned St. Pope John Paul II twice. This is the third time, and maybe he's here with us. A family that prays together stays together. And I thought about what you just said a long time ago. A long time ago. It's been like almost 3 hours in this podcast. So a couple hours ago was exactly that, because we were talking about techniques and we were talking about being comfortable in uncomfortable situations and Satan attacking the family. And that's exactly the most powerful buttress that can be fortified in your family fortress is the husband and the wife praying together. And like you said, attacking it in unity.
Yes.
That seriously, that is it. My 4 years being a priest and doing all kinds of counseling and marriage prep is like, that is it. And when you hear from exorcists, that is it. You have to pray together. And that's exactly what you're supposed to. And it's interesting that this podcast, even though focused on the connection between BJJ and spiritual combat, has taken on this different flavor. And you've mentioned marriage many times. And that sacramental covenant of marriage, you received graces. You received great graces when you received that great sacrament of marriage. After you said those consenting vows.
Two
right?
people baptized, prophet, priest, and king together in the
Unstoppable.
sacrament of marriage and the vocation of marriage.
Receiving the Eucharist and confession.
Why else do we think Satan wants it completely ruined?
Yes. Yeah. It's like, yeah, in that situation, you're a black belt wrestling a white belt, and Satan's a white belt. In that situation.
Because the Holy
But when you
Spirit-
start entering into sin, it's like Satan becomes someone that's very powerful as well. We don't mess
he's
around
tricky.
with him.
He's tricky.
Well, yeah.
He's tricky.
Hello, everyone. My name is Father Dominic Kateri with the Manly Catholic Podcast, and I'd like to take a moment with you just to talk about something that's dear to my heart. Harmel Academy of the Trades here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Harmel Academy started in 2018, where I came on board. And now we're entering our 2024-2025 year with just close to 30 guys from all over the country. Harmel Academy of the Trades is a Catholic trade school dedicated towards building these men towards Jesus Christ with prayer, work, and study. It's a 1-year program and a 2-year program where we teach these men not only how to sit at the feet of the Master of Jesus Christ, who is the epitome of what it means to be a man and a worker, but they get to work in a variety of trades. They live together on campus, they work together on campus, they take humanities curriculums together. And if you're interested, please check out our website at harmelacademy.org and discover more about this wonderful academy. And may God bless you.
He is the ultimate enemy. He is the ultimate. He's the one that does not want you to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. In fact, he wants you to be super uncomfortable.
He wants your whole entire life to be uncomfortable. And that's where we're at. I see it all the time.
Well, what is he the father of, other than lies?
The father of deception, the father the one that scatters, the father of...
What's the number one hallmark, though, in the world today that people are angst from? Whether it's war, finances, unwanted pregnancy.
Loneliness.
What does loneliness cause? This is all going to...
Fear.
It's always fear. Brothers, it's always fear. It doesn't matter what the fear is caused from. It all boils back down to fear. Fear of loss, fear of want, fear of out of control, fear I'm going to lose something, fear I'm not going to get something, fear I'm not going to be liked, fear I'm not going to be appreciated, fear I'm not going to win, fear I'm not going to know what to do, fear that heaven doesn't exist, fear that God doesn't exist, fear that I'm going to go to hell, fear, 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 fear. Fear I'm not good enough, not big enough, not strong enough. It's always about fear.
Yeah. And how many times does Christ in Scripture say, do not fear, do not be afraid?
He's always saying,
365 times.
do
One
not
for every day.
fear. Peace be with you.
Yeah.
So
we say that in the Mass, too.
all the time.
My peace be with you.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Why? Because in peace, without fear, we can reason and think clearly and operate clearly and be the way he
It
designed
has to
us.
be uncomfortable situations.
Saying
Because in
not
that
want us
situation,
comfortable and uncomfortable.
we can think clearly. He doesn't want us to think clearly.
He wants us to fight or
radical.
flight.
Yeah, he wants us to think in some fanatic way. He doesn't want us to engage in our... I mean, Christ is called the Logos, right? Logic, like correct thinking. To know God, love God, and serve God is the purpose of what it means to be a human being. To know God first. Because when you know God, you're not going to have that fear. To know God, you will be unstoppable, right? As you move from white belt to blue belt, where I'm at, so yes, you can feel that. You can sense that.
I want you to react out of fear because in doing so, you give me everything I need to finish you.
Correct. Exactly. Because when I roll with you, because you're like an anaconda. Whenever I start struggling and moving in some uncontrollable way, I'm wasting energy. You're biding your time. And there's just a little more squeeze here, a little bit more squeeze here. And the next thing I know, I can't breathe. I'm tapping out. But you know what? You said this to me before, after you tapped me out. I was like, you pretty much did that to yourself. Because I was just trying, I was wasting all kinds of energy trying to get out of this uncomfortable situation where if I was just to stay there, collect my thoughts, and just breathe, might have had a fighting chance.
It reminds me of, is that why Jesus tells us, in your weakness, I will be strong?
Yeah.
Because if it's just strength on strength, it'll never win. There'll always be something stronger.
Always.
I think we could argue that Satan, being a fallen angel, is way more powerful than we are. In that,
Well,
whatever
yeah,
that
it's
terminology.
like you never try and pet a wounded dog.
Sure.
He's wounded, right? Satan's wounded. His time is short.
But if we do not succumb to fear, and we can react with peace and purpose, with a well-formed conscience, in tune with God, will we speak better with our spouse? Will we communicate better with our colleagues? Will we not road rage
Right.
with the person who just cut us off?
Right. When relating to that, when I started training in BJJ a long time ago, I mean, under Clint, even under Clint, he kind of taught it in the way that I'm glad they do. Like, you don't use this to destroy people. That's a great place to start with BJJ. And after a couple years of that, I wasn't cocky. I had so much confidence.
Yeah.
I wasn't afraid of anybody. Like, even now,
yeah,
I'm not afraid of any man.
Totally.
Sometimes I'm afraid of myself, what I can do.
Yeah.
Because I know my past.
For sure.
And I fear the Lord.
For sure.
Right? But I don't fear anyone. And as a priest, that helps me.
For sure.
That helps me tremendously. Because I can see past all the bullcrap. And I can get right to the point of, this is a beloved son or daughter in front of me who's mad at me right now. Yeah. Right? Because I preach the truth or something. Yeah. But I'm not afraid. And that gives me confidence to preach the truth.
Totally.
Because I can be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. I can be comfortable after I preach the truth in a homily, like I did a couple weekends ago about marriage, divorce, and abortion. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And I had people yelling at me in my office because they were upset. And I was comfortable. Beautiful. I just think there's a lot. And maybe it's just me. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of connection between Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, probably other forms of martial arts, to be sure. Yeah. And the spiritual world in which we find ourselves in. And the way that you teach this art helps young men. Even what we were talking about before we started this podcast, we were talking about this young man, about 21 years old, who's lacking in that confidence. And he's in a dark place. He doesn't know the power of masculinity. Yeah. And then he said, well, maybe I should do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And it clicked. Yes. Contact Coach Roy. Is it for him to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu so that he can kill people? That's not it. It's to experience what I know is the fact when entering into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and staying with it, that it can help you become a man and not fear. Yeah. That's exactly why I'm sending this guy to you and nobody else.
Yeah. Nobody should have to fear. No. Bullying takes on too many faces. And I say it a lot, especially in the kids' classes. Probably any human being around knows what bullying is. They've either seen it be done, been a recipient, been recipient of that,
both sides,
or has been. And even today, we might fear that ourselves, that we are bullies, whether we are rude to a person or if we're a manager at the office, we might bully people with commands or with finances or threaten to hold back a raise. There's all forms of it, but it never goes away. It just changes faces. As kids, it turns into schoolyard.
Oh, yeah.
From schoolyard, it turns into career bullying. From career bullying, it turns into road rage or violence on the street so that people can make someone else do something that they don't want to do. And at an international level, it becomes terrorism and war.
Oh, yeah. Totalitarianism, dictatorship.
It never goes away.
Communism. Right.
And the more fearful person or persons succumb to the tyranny.
Right. Because they can control fear. It is Jesus Christ who sets us free.
Right. And the things that he gives us, the tools. So if our kids can walk around more free from the fear of being bullied, then they'll make better choices. I don't have to do what Billy down the street is trying to get me to do because I'm afraid he's not going to like me. If he doesn't like me, he might hit me. He might exclude me.
Jeff, that's exactly what your son's going to get. If you haven't sat in on his classes, that's exactly what he says when he's teaching these young boys and girls.
Yeah.
Do you just teach kids now, or do you do adults as well?
Kids and adults. Both. Yeah, they're doing both. I started with kids.
But you teach the kids these things, and it empowers them.
Yeah.
They don't have to be anxious. They don't have to be fearful.
There was a 12-year-old girl today who was nearly abducted and raped at Ball Northeast, and I forget the other cross street. It happened at the school bus stop.
Oh, man.
No person should have to fear walking freely on the streets or playing on the playground.
Absolutely not.
Or walking to the grocery store or going on a walk to a park. No one. And the better trained people get, especially, and you say, well, why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Well, I think it socially agrees with society better. Compared to Taekwondo, or even, thanks be to God, we have this beautiful right to bear arms. It's a beautiful right. It's a very serious and sobering right, but it's a beautiful right. But if we have to have a social ability, well, the samurais who, at least traditionally in folklore, perfected joint manipulation to control out of control people without killing them.
Samurai.
Samurai.
The samurai, yeah.
And so if through that practice of joint manipulation, pain, I mean, what's discipline? And I oftentimes say this because there's a lot of parents out there that may or may not agree with corporal punishment or some type of physical punishment. If my grandson was here and I said to Louis, hot, don't touch the fireplace, honey. And he's old enough to know that. But he chooses to do it and disobey. He's going to get burned. That hurts. If he's smart, it probably won't happen a second time for a long time.
Right.
So there's something neurogenic about pain in our lives that we were built with that we kind of don't like. So if we can learn a martial art where we don't have to beat a person into the dust, or we don't have to pull our sidearm and shoot them dead to stop the threat, neutralize the threat, and turn them over to the authorities, how good is that for society? There's a young man right now who is threatened with a felony charge in New York because he apprehended someone on a subway. He learned how to do what he did in the military. The military is totally different. That's war. But if he could have had more training, we all try to learn how to get out of a house in case of a fire. If the tornado sirens go off, we try to teach everybody to go into a basement. Why is it that we're the one creation that when faced with predatorial behavior, predators don't know what to do? We're not actively training our people how to respond to a physical threat so that we can handle it well and with an art form that is socially acceptable. And the higher up the food chain you get in this apex predator, that doesn't mean that somebody couldn't pull a gun and shoot me dead. Well, okay. But they'll do the same to you. It doesn't matter if you have training or I have training. Right. They're going to shoot you. But if they lay their hands on me, or if I have a chance to connect with them, my chances of surviving that, neutralizing the threat, and keeping other people safe is so much greater than if I had no training at all. Then we have the cardiovascular health that I get out of it, the endorphin and dopamine hits that I get every time I work out and train, the flexibility, the strengthening, the community, the connection with human beings where I put my trust in you that you won't hurt me, and you put your trust in me that I won't hurt you, which builds a bond that's only second to military personnel and police officers.
Correct.
Those build lifetime bonds of familial connection.
Right.
Trust, dedication, commitment, care, camaraderie.
Yes.
So the fruits can't help but spill over. And so when we close our classes at the end of the day with kids, oftentimes the prayer is, Lord, thank you for a fun training day. Now may we take all of this that we've learned today and take it out into the world where we make it a better place to live. In Jesus' name.
Yeah, you say that all the time.
Otherwise, I'm out. If we're not going to make the world better, then why?
Right? Yeah, what's the point?
If I'm not going to make me better, not because I'm ultimately in control and I am my own God, but I am in cooperation with my God. Ora et labora. It reaches way back to hour one. It's this and that. It's prayer and work.
Yeah.
It's cooperation. It's the yes. He decided not to make us robots. Just like I wouldn't want my kids to be robots. When they offer up their true love to me and I didn't demand it, it means so much more to me.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's like Jesus with us, too. Absolutely. Doesn't coerce us. That freely given love is what he's desiring.
And that love is what I need to have, even though I am a hateful warrior. Again, see, hour 1.5 to 2. I like to eat people. Can I learn through the regular immunization of stressful situations how to become an apex predator who, out of compassion and mercy, through Christ, allows survival? You were wrong, but you will live. Because if I take their life, their decisions are over.
Right.
If I take away the threat, everybody wins.
Yeah, it's just a Christian response, for sure. And maybe to kind of wrap things to a close here, it took you a long time to get your black belt, BJJ. That means something. That says a lot. That's not given, man. That's earned.
Slow learner.
And as we connect, this beautiful philosophy and practice of BJJ to spiritual combat, spiritual warfare, right? We don't do this alone. Right. We look to the black belts in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
We look to the saints.
Yeah. Amen.
We look to the saints. Right. That's it. That's salvation. That's our goal. They trod that path. They've earned that black belt, man, because they did the same thing. All of them, every single one of them, uncomfortable, comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Right?
Yeah.
And so we looked at them. We looked at the saints, like the real black belts,
right?
With the spiritual,
for sure. The masters.
Yes.
The masters, the doctors.
Yeah.
Right. When you get to black belt, they call you professor.
That's right. Yep, professor. Correct.
Because it's a position of a level. And so when we talk about the doctors of the church and the saints, it's because they, through trial and error, through exercise, through self-discipline, through the school of hard knocks, they finished well.
Yeah.
And now shine a light for us to move forward and intercede for us. That's beautiful.
Amen.
Right before we let you go, you got to give your shameless plug for Vanguard BJJ. Tell the audience.
Oh,
tell us about it.
Yeah.
How long have you had it? The academy.
I started it in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, started
So
being
almost
here.
10 years.
Yeah, it's located right here in Grand Rapids. It's on Plainfield. It's right near the East Beltline. VanguardBJJ.com is the website. If people want to just kind of learn a little bit more about it, I have another website called BWBJJ.com. BetterWorldBJJ.com.
Cool.
And
Nice.
It's online videos if they want to take advantage of just learning some of the exercises they can do at home. They can do that. But if they just want to dabble in it, just come for a free class. Come.
Go for free classes.
Yeah. The first class is always free. And again, like Father said, it's not for everybody, but it's a great way to empower oneself to feel more comfortable in the world. And as we've talked about quite in detail, I think that the exercises, and though I try not to proselytize any more than I have to, because it's integrated in my life, and people understand that.
It's part of you.
You can't be Catholic and then also secular.
Yeah.
You're going to be Catholic in the secular world doing things.
You're gonna change the world. Yeah.
And if I were a different religion altogether, I would, or if I had a coach and they were a different religion than me, I would like to learn from them the skills and not necessarily be proselytized to. So you don't have to be a Catholic or a Christian to come to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You're welcome. You're welcome either way. But just know that it's when you come to my classes, I can't separate it. It's going to be taught through that which the Lord has laid on my life, and hopefully they'll benefit from it regardless of their background. So, but I hope that either way, whatever's been talked about tonight, it's just a coach sharing his journey. That's all. I don't know any more than anybody else other than experiential.
Yes, a practitioner sharing his journey.
Right.
A professor.
He's
He's a professor. Patron saint of spiritual joy.
Yeah, and devotion.
Do you have a challenge for them?
Yes,
he was thinking of it.
No, of course I was.
Oh,
I know.
yes.
I want all our listeners to well, if you can, age-wise, I guess appropriate, but find a jiu-jitsu place. Check it out.
And
If you're in
find
the
a
area,
good one. Find a good one.
yes,
Yeah.
if you're in the area, definitely check out
An academy.
Vanguard. That is my challenge. That is my challenge.
Yes,
Well,
Greg.
Father Dom, I'm not an athlete. No, this is really a way of living. It is a philosophy, especially for the men. It helps unlock a certain potential, a natural law, ingrained reality. Oh man, I think that needs to be unlocked. So that is my challenge.
Can I piggyback on that for a second, Father?
Yes, sir.
What would you say to people who they're looking for a gym? They're going to get good jiu-jitsu. So that piece they're going to get. So all of the aspects, physically, emotionally, psychologically, they're going to get no matter who teaches it.
Sure.
Because of the nature of jiu-jitsu. How would you encourage them to navigate if it's a more secular gym? They're playing music that maybe isn't edifying. Maybe there's some behavior that's less than tasteful. But that's the only gym they've got. What would you say to them?
I would say, be a saint in that situation. That's what saints have done throughout all of history, right? They've integrated themselves and they put themselves in situations such as that to bring, the light of Christianity into a secular area. So yes, maybe that is an added weight of uncomfortability in that situation, right? But bring Christ. I would say bring Christ. Pray before you go in. Read scripture before you go in. If there's any chance to evangelize in that situation, because you're going to be in contact with people in a very powerful, intimate way, right? And you can shine differently in those situations. And people begin to see that and notice that and say, "Hey, where is this coming from?" I say, "Yes, it's coming from my faith, and here it is."
So here comes Coach Roy.
Yeah.
Don't lower your standards to get promoted. Be who God's calling you to be. And if that gym rejects that, find another one.
Correct.
And B, don't get hurt.
Yeah.
If they're just knuckleheads,
But
and they're not being professional, and they're not making sure to keep you healthy while you learn jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
stop. Go
Find run someplace else. Absolutely.
or find a good surgeon.
Or come to Vanguard.
Yeah.
I thank you for being here with us.
honored.
Thank you
Truly.
for being a guinea pig in this situation as we have.
Oh no.
Jeff, thank you for
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Jeff. Until next time, go out there
and be a
and
saint.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of The Manly Catholic. If you have not already done so, please hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcast to make sure you don't miss a single episode. It will also help grow the show and reach as many men as possible. We truly think this podcast can change families and help men to change the world. Thank you again so much for tuning in, and God bless you.